tiny little studio on this tiny little Greek island. Today is Tuesday, and again, we've got so much going on. I love it. I hope you can all hear me. Somebody let me know if there's a problem with the sound. I've been having troubles with the sound. So today, oh boy, working on these lemon studies, these little lemon paintings, this challenge that's going on. We are on day 8 today. How exciting. And I have brought in now 2 lemons, not just one, but 2. And yesterday was, again, this is a challenge. It is pulling out of your habit of how you paint and really focusing in on trying something new, of stretching yourself in some way, just pushing it out, just challenging yourself, adding different colors that you never really use. They just didn't click with you. They didn't vibe with you at the time. So you just put it in your paint box, your paints, and just, in a drawer somewhere and forgot about them. Pull them out and begin to incorporate them again. Not tons, like on your regular limited palette, add 1. Like the other day, I did raw sienna, which is something that I don't usually use. And not that I don't like it, I do, in fact, but it's just not usually on my palette. And I mean, you all know that I'm very, very hardcore, limited palette type gal. So I love the limited palette because, well, you can do anything you want with it and not really worry about muddying up your painting, messing it up completely, and not getting the right hues, the right tones. I mean, it's so much easier with a limited palette. And so I have my limited palette, and then I add this 1 extra. Maybe I'll try it with black. I don't use black. I like to mix my own. Sometimes I do, to mix those beautiful greens, like I found out a couple days ago when I decided to put ivory black on my palette again and see what happened. And it worked quite nicely. I believe that was also with the raw sienna. I had black on the day before, and then because the paint was still there and I hadn't used it all, I left it on the palette, and I think I mixed the black with the raw sienna and got this really nice green, a really nice, very mellow green, which is going to be very useful for me when especially for the landscapes here, because this is a dry country. So we do have that dulled down olive green. Not everything is olive green here, obviously, but it's a beautiful color, and I really loved the way it played out. So, I picked that up. I put that in my toolbox. Yeah, I think it's a good mix. And some other things that are happening, like yesterday, right? I used a couple of things that I did differently. Usually, I'll go in to a new painting and I'll lay in all the darks, right? I'll just establish it all one color. I mean, usually I'm using ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. That's my usual mix. and creating the darks. Okay. And then once I get the large masses in, the background, the shadow, the darks, because my darks I like to keep all connected. So it's usually just one, painting through of connecting all the darks. And then, like, let's say in this painting here, I would do the shadow side of the lemons with that same dark, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, and then do the light side of the lemons, just very flat, right? No shapes or form or anything, and the foreground. That's what I would do. And yesterday I came in this painting here, right? And I'm doing the lemons, all in fact the entire painting, but specifically on the lemons, I painted each plane. So if I had this shape for the shadow, then as the lemon was curving up, there was another shape that had a different value and a different color to it. So I was doing all the planes and just putting it together that way. I had never done that before. It was quite challenging and very interesting, just very interesting. And that was one thing. The other thing that I was very aware of doing was using more paint. I don't use enough paint. I never have. I've always painted very thinly because you can control it better. I laugh every time I say that because it's just all an illusion if you think you can control anything. Well, yeah. But I think that I can control it better. And so I oftentimes am painting much too thinly. But that works in many ways because in the shadow areas, I do like to keep it thin. I don't want thick paint in the shadow areas because, I don't want it to reflect light and, create catching too much light in the shadows where it's not meant to be caught. I want everything to be happening in my focal area, obviously. So yesterday I just laid on more paint. I just really did that whole impasto thing, which I don't normally do in the greater spectrum of the painting. I'll do it right in the highlight areas. But the thing is, to do all of this within an hour is you're painting alla prima, which is another thing that I hardly ever do, unless I'm going out plein air painting. But when I'm going out plein air painting, I'm going out to do a study. So I'm doing the basics and I'm not really creating an entire painting. And part of the reason why I do that, I think, is because I don't have the practice of doing alla prima and laying it down and then finding ways to build the painting using impasto paint when needed. And, what if I have to adjust something and there's all this impasto? How do you adjust something? And I don't have the skills to do that effectively, especially when I'm out plein air painting. And when you're out plein air painting, the light is changing. You haven't got all day. And so you need to move fast. And I'm finding that this exercise is going to really help me in my plein air work to go out and actually paint more often, a full plein air painting and not just do studies. Usually I'll do a study, see if I like what's happening with it, and then bring it back to the studio and paint it if I like it, right? So I think I would really like to take this, what I'm learning, like in yesterday's painting in these past 7 days, this past week, and focus that towards plein air painting and see if at the end of these 30 days, if that whole process, my plein air will develop and grow from just doing studies for studio paintings into, more developed and higher quality plein air paintings. Why not? Why not? And to do it, I mean, I would like to do it in, an hour and a half, 2 hours? I don't know how long it takes to actually pull that off. Like this painting here, which has been sold. I'm really happy about that because it was in the auction that I was talking about a couple weeks ago, and to help the Holland Center in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I have a lot of artist friends who are in the area and who are showing and teaching and doing all sorts of things at this center. So I was really happy to put in some paintings there and sell them at the auction, and so this one is going for that. But this painting is a plein air painting, but not in one sitting. I went back, I think 2 times to put it together, and then did some final details, little tweakings and things like that. Back here in the studio when I painted this painting. This is a great little spot on the island. I haven't been back in a while, and I do want to go back. So this painting challenge is moving me and opening up more some of the areas that I just naturally, because they can be uncomfortable, and I just kind of moved my focus into a different place, mostly in the studio, because it's nice in here, it's comfy in here, and I love this space and the quiet and the creativity that is now embedded in this area, and so I'm pretty excited about what's happening with this lemon challenge. And again, if you want to join, it's about pushing beyond what you normally do. That's what this is for. Yeah, some days you can just paint the lemon the way you normally paint them. Other days, though, you need to push beyond. And if you're a beginner, right, then your focus is painting a lemon for 30 days, and really working on understanding the form, how to create the form. Because as my mentor, Colleen Coban, always said, if you can paint a lemon, you can paint anything. So with that, you guys, be inspired, be creative, be you, have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will see you all later on. I always say 5 or 6, depending. I'm trying to fix up the studio lighting. I'm going to take a look at what happened yesterday when I was just working under the studio lighting, to see what happened. But there's a problem with the palette. The palette camera isn't a very good one, and there's glare, and people aren't seeing it very well. So I'm not sure how I'm going to go about doing that. I kind of thought that maybe I would do a painting. I would do the session early today, and then come and replay it for you, and we can talk our way through it. That might be one way to try it out, just so that I can get the palette working, and it being useful to you. We'll see. Because if I put up my glass palette, and I thought about that as well. If I put up the glass palette, there'll still be a reflection, and it still won't be easy to see. So I have to play around with that. I'm not sure, but between 5 and 6, somewhere in there. 5:30 is the normal time. I'll just go with that, 5:30, and hopefully see you there. All right. Have a beautiful day, everyone. I'll see you all later. Bye.